at the bus, loaded everyone up, and headed out for a like 20+ hour drive.
We rarely watch any TV or movies, but this movie is filmed by the Sherwood Baptist Church in Albany, Georgia.
We have the Duggar family staying at our home because we're filming the next Sherwood Pictures movie, Courageous. So they'll be on set today.
We were really excited to be able to go down and be on the set of Courageous, but the drive was really long.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tuesday, February 1st. Let's talk about the Duggar family. We've spent quite a bit of time talking about the various siblings. We've talked about Josh, but we haven't really talked about Michelle. Michelle has been sort of in the background. We didn't see her at trial. She has not said anything public since Josh Duggar's guilty verdict outside of what they posted on their Instagram and on their Facebook and on their website. She has been relatively quiet. She was just, ever since all of this came out, her voice has been pretty muted. And it could be that Jim Bob is in control, and that's what he does, is the leader of the family and the leader of his little tiny cult. And I was interested because I saw that she took off, and she is currently in California, and she is visiting Jinger with some of the kids. So a couple things came up when these pictures started circulating. So first of all, Michelle is in California. She is with Jana, James, Jason, Joy, and Austin also came to visit, and they're there to see Jinger and Jeremy. And then Jim Bob is not there, and Laura DeMazy came up a couple days ago. She was previously in Vegas, and now she's with them. Jason was posting photos and videos of reels on his Instagram, and Laura is there with the family. So they're in California, and I was thinking about how Jim Bob isn't there. And I was wondering, like, what's going on with this? So some of you guys have asked, like, why is it that Jinger still maintains a relationship with her family, and Jill and Derek are completely separate? Like, why isn't Jill and Derek? Why aren't they in California? Why aren't they with the family? And I thought we could speak a little bit to that, and then speak to sort of like what the overall sort of feel here was within the family. So my first specific thing I noticed was that Jim Bob did not go. And Jim Bob could be staying at home because they still have kids that are, underage. They have 3 daughters that are not yet 18. They have Jackson, who's also not yet 18. So he's probably got some kid stuff to take care of. I do wonder then who is with the kids, if it's just Jim Bob or if they have someone else helping, or if the kids are kind of on their own while mom is gone. But so Jim Bob is home, and they're in California. And if you know anything about Jim Bob, is he was really opposed to Jinger and Jeremy moving to California. He's not a huge fan of California. He thinks it's like where Satan goes to play. And so the fact that he's not there doesn't surprise me. But I honestly think that Jim Bob is not there because of a relationship that he has with Jeremy. And why would Michelle and all of them go see Jinger, but why don't they talk to Jill? So those are really like the 2 prevailing questions. So first off, Jill and Derek's separation from the family is very different than Jinger and Jeremy's separation from the family. Jinger and Jeremy are separated from the family due to space and due to, like, they're on the other part of the country. But Jinger as a whole has not separated like from her mom and has not separated from her siblings. She might not have a super close relationship with her dad, but she hasn't specifically spoken out against the family. So when you think about Jinger, she wrote a book, and when she wrote a book, she said nothing negative about her family. There was nothing disparaging. She's not made any public statements about the show or about her frustrations. She's really kept a very civil tone with her family, and she's kept a very open relationship with her parents. So even though she has left the faith, she is still not specifically shunned, I think, because she just hasn't gone toe-to-toe with her dad. And that's the difference between Jill and Ginger. So with Jill, she actually confronts her dad. She takes her dad to court to get money, or to an attorney to get money. She confronts him about the past. She asks questions. She publicly speaks out against some of the things that they grew up learning about. She speaks out against her father's control and not having control in her own life. She has made statements publicly against her family, and her husband has made statements publicly against her family. And her husband has made it very well known that he does not like Jim Bob at all. And they, because of that, they don't have a relationship with the Duggars. So it's not that Jill and Ginger have some sort of feud. It's not that Jill and Ginger aren't friends. It's more like they took two separate paths, meaning Jill and Derek broke away. Like, they are not connected to the family. They don't go to the big house. They haven't been to the big house in years. I think Derek hasn't been there in like 3 to 4 years, maybe. Jill hasn't been in a photograph at the big house since 2019 when she went to like a sweater party. So there's not this, she just doesn't see her family. She has a very distant relationship from her family members. Ginger, on the other hand, hasn't spoken out against her family, hasn't publicly rated or berated her father. And other than just saying that she feels that Josh is guilty and she's glad that justice is served, she has not made any grievances about the show or about her family. So, and she's also not said, I've distanced myself from them, where Jill has. And she also probably didn't confront her dad in the same way. So Ginger, if you know anything about her relationship with Michelle, is that she and Michelle were very close. Michelle is, of the girls, favored Ginger the most. I mean, she's spoken about how much she loves Ginger. And Ginger and Michelle have a very close relationship. So I think the thing with Ginger is that she's so close to her mom that she doesn't want maybe to separate that relationship. So confusing, I know, because one, they're not in the IBLP. They have broken away from those beliefs, but they haven't broken totally away from the family. But I should note that Jeremy, when they go to Arkansas, rarely goes with Ginger, and usually it's people going out to visit there. So Jeremy and Mr. Duggar don't have the best relationship, and Jim Bob was not super thrilled about them getting married. Jeremy talked about that in his book. So Jeremy doesn't agree with him philosophically. He doesn't necessarily agree with a lot of the things that Jim Bob has done, but Jeremy has also been pretty careful too in how he speaks about him. He did speak a little bit about the frustrations of the way that they raised Ginger on their podcast, but Jeremy and Jim Bob just don't have like a good super duper relationship. And so I'm assuming that Jim Bob doesn't go because he probably doesn't get along with Jeremy, and he probably wants to stay home with whatever is going on with Josh. So, and Anna's kids and whatever. Anyways, so they're not there, not because Jill's feuding with Ginger, but mostly because Jill doesn't have a relationship with her family, really, at all. It's sad, but it's true. So Ginger and Jeremy have everyone there, and they are in California, and then who shows up? Joy and Austin. Which again was super confusing to a lot of you guys. Like, why are Joy and Austin there? I thought they were fighting with the family. What is going on? And here's the deal. Like, Joy and Austin's issues, again, do not have anything to do with Michelle. They do have to do with her dad, and they also have to do with Anna. So their confrontation was about Austin being upset with Anna for blaming Carlin Bates. That's what my source told me. And he was frustrated that Anna and Josh were blaming everyone else. And then he was also upset about how he found out about what happened to Joy in the trial, because that's not what he was told, and it wasn't what Joy was told about what happened to her as a kid. So Austin is not likely to leave at all in this world. So him and Joy going to California to see Ginger doesn't surprise me, because Josh isn't there, Jim Bob's not there, and Anna's not there. So Joy is still close to her sisters. Joy is close with Jana. And then Austin grew up in this cult. Austin is still very connected to the cult. Austin is a builder, and he has a company, and he builds houses. And he builds houses with all of these guys. He builds houses with Jason, with Dwayne Swanson, who's also in the IBLP, with his dad, Josiah, who's still in the IBLP. They have all these little investors that are part of or outside of the IBLP. And they have this little network that they work in, and they build houses together. And he grew up in a patriarchal world. He's a very alpha male. All of his connections are into the IBLP. So this idea that he's going to leave or going to break free from that patriarchal world is pretty tough, because they're very ingrained and enmeshed in it from all different angles. Now, I don't know how active they still are themselves, but they haven't cut ties clearly with the family, but I think they've made their positions known with Anna. But again, like, I think it's, you know, the kids are in a tough situation because I'm sure they love Michelle, but they probably are struggling in their relationships with their father and with Josh. And Jim Bob has his like hands full with what's going on with Josh right now. And then he's got 7 kids now that he's taking care of along with Anna. So Jim Bob is like way overextended at this point. Totally ridiculous that he doesn't just let Anna leave. But anyways, so right now, long story short, oh my God, this has been like the most rambling 10 minutes of my entire life. I'm sorry. Everyone is in California. I think it's kind of a publicity thing to make them look like they're having a good time. Everything's great. There was a photo circulating of Michelle, and everyone was like, she's wearing pants. She's not wearing pants. She had a black skirt on over her leggings. So everyone was like, oh my God, she's wearing pants. No, she's not. She was wearing a skirt. They're all in California. Jinger has not been shunned by the family, although she has she has a distant relationship, I think, from her dad. Jeremy and her dad don't really get along, but they have never publicly outed the family the same way that Jill and Derek have. And Jill and Derek also, you know, just don't want anything to do with them. So it's not like they haven't invited Jill and Derek or that they're being left out. Like, Jill and Derek probably wouldn't have wanted to go anyway. Like, they don't have an interest in having a relationship with the family. So it's, you know, you have to want to be in the family, and they don't. Like, she said that she needs to have boundaries in order to stay out and to stay healthy. So I hope this ties up the loose ends, and about Joy and Austin as well. So everything at this point is still kind of like coasting. I don't think that it makes sense to say that everything is perfect in the Duggar house. I'm sure that everyone wants to see another kid break free, and I just don't know when and if that will happen. So we can hope, but, you know, when and if that time comes, you know, I'm sure they'll be the first to tell us, or I'll hear it from someone, and at this point I haven't heard anything. All right, so what are your thoughts about Miss Michelle ditching Jim Bob? I kind of like that she's gone to California without Jim Bob. I kind of like that she's taking time away from Jim Bob and the family. And I don't know. Part of me is just like, maybe Michelle could divorce Jim Bob. That would be amazing. It would never happen, though. Never happen. But Jim Bob, what do you think he's doing in Arkansas? Who's taking care of the kids? What are they doing without Michelle? What do you think is happening? Has the entire compound, the house, fallen apart? Are any more children missing? With the babysitter gone, who's watching the kids? What's going on at the big house? These are the questions I have. Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.